Okay, picture this. You're on this amazing yacht, right? Turquoise water everywhere, boats gently rocking, total bliss.
Sounds pretty perfect.
It is. But then, you try to scream that show everyone's buzzing about, or maybe the big game, and bam, you just hit a wall.
Yeah, that feeling.
Yeah.
You want that familiar comfort, the thing you always watch.
Exactly. But it's just frustratingly out of reach.
It's a funny contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got this peak physical luxury, but then these very specific digital limits pop up.
Right. We just expect everything to work instantly now, wherever we are.
We really do.
Because the second that yacht sails outside U.S. waters, well, getting your DirecTV stream, your Hulu, FUBO, YouTube TV, it's just not smooth sailing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So today, we're looking at some info you shared from MarineDataSolutions. They seem to be tackling this exact problem, like head on.
That's right. Yeah, the material really gets to the heart of why you get these streaming headaches out at sea, and it talks about their MDS Blender as, maybe the fix. So our mission for this deep dive, really, is to understand the tech reasons, the geographic blocks, and see how this MDS Blender tries to get around them.
All to make sure owners and charter guests actually get the seamless entertainment they're paying for?
Exactly. It's like trying to unlock your digital living room. Doesn't matter which ocean you happen to be sailing on.
Okay, let's dive in then. The core problem. These geo-restrictions at sea. Now, we know things like Starlink give yachts amazing high-speed internet pretty much globally.
Which is incredible, yeah. A huge leap.
But for streaming, just having that internet pipe, that's clearly not the whole story, is it?
Not quite, no.
Yeah.
So Starlink gives you the big data highway, right? But the streaming platforms, they have their own kind of border control.
Yeah.
They check who gets access and from where, and they often use your IP address, that sort of unique digital tag for your connection to figure out your location.
Right.
So once a yacht goes outside the U.S., it gets assigned a foreign IP address.
Right. And that's when the digital gates clang shut, basically, like trying to use your local library card overseas.
That's a great analogy, yeah, exactly. The streaming service spots that non-US IP, and bam, the geo-restriction rules kick in.
And that shows up how? What does the user actually see?
Well, it could be a few annoying things. You might find your library just shrinks, like whole seasons of shows gone, or certain movies just aren't there anymore. Or even worse, the whole service just says, nope, not available here. Completely blocked.
Oh, man. Settling in for movie night under the stars only to get some cryptic error message. That's rough.
It really is. And even if you can get something playing, you might get plagued by constant buffering, pixelated pictures.
Interruptions, yeah.
General instability. It just pulls you right out of that luxury vibe. And think about charter guests paying top dollar.
Yeah, they expect everything to be perfect.
Absolutely. They expect the comforts of home. And seamless TV is a big, big part of that now.
Okay, so Starlink gets you global internet, but the streaming companies put up these digital fences based on location. Which brings us to this MDS Blender. It's being called a game changer for keeping yachts connected to shows and stuff. What's the secret sauce there? What makes it different?
Well, the key thing about the MDS Blender is how it tackles that IP address issue directly.
Okay.
Like the source material says. Its main trick is that it can basically choose the apparent location of your internet connection.
Choose it.
Yeah. You can adopt a US or a UK IP address, maybe even others via remote servers, potentially. So think of it like a digital passport.
So it lets your entertainment travel with you kind of under the radar.
That's a good way to put it. It's like masking your actual location online.
Okay.
By hiding the yacht's real location and showing, say, a US IP address instead, it basically convinces the streaming service that the boat is still in the US.
Right. So let's get practical. If I'm sailing near, I don't know, St. Bart's, how does this box make Netflix or Hulu think I'm actually in Florida?
Okay, so technically, the MDS Blender acts like a smart router inside the yacht's network.
Right.
When it's hooked up, it assigns that chosen IP, let's say a US one, consistently, to all the devices connected on the boat.
The whole network.
The whole network. So when your smart TV tries to reach Hulu or your phone opens YouTube TV, that request goes through the Blender carrying that US IP address.
And Hulu just sees the US address and says, okay, you're good to go.
Exactly. It sees the US address and grants access, just like you were sitting in Miami.
That sounds almost too easy. But yeah, it makes sense network-wise. You're just getting past that first location check.
Pretty much.
And the source specifically mentions uninterrupted access for things like DirecTV Stream, Hulu, FUBO, YouTube TV. even in places like the Bahamas and the Caribbean. That's got to be a big deal for people cruising there.
Oh, absolutely. Think how convenient that is. You don't need to mess around setting up individual VPNs on every single phone, tablet, TV.
Right, which can be a pain.
A huge pain. And often unreliable, too, right? VPNs can be slow or drop out. The Blender does it at the network level, so it's seamless for everyone on board. No extra steps needed.
Okay, so that handles the geo-blocking headache. But the source material also talks about other benefits of this Blender thing. It mentions bonding internet sources. What's that about?
Yeah, that's important too, because you need a reliable connection at sea, right? Even with Starlink, which is great, you might hit spots with weaker signal or slower speed sometimes.
Sure.
So the MDS Blender can actually bond together up to 4 different internet connections at the same time.
4? Like what?
Well, Starlink, obviously, but also maybe traditional VSAT satellite if the yacht has it, and even 5G cellular if you're close enough to shore.
Ah, okay.
And by pooling the bandwidth, combining the speeds from all those sources, it can get you much faster overall speeds, potentially up to a gigabit per second, the source says.
Whoa, 1 GB piece on a yacht. That's massive bandwidth.
It really is.
So it's not just about fooling the streaming location check, it's also making sure the connection is actually strong enough and fast enough for, like, high-def video without glitches.
Exactly that. More bandwidth means smoother streaming, especially if you're watching HD or 4K stuff.
Right.
And it also means there's enough capacity if other things are happening online at the same time. Video calls, big downloads, people just browsing.
Makes sense. And what was that other feature mentioned? Automatic failover. That sounds pretty critical when you're offshore.
It is, yeah. Super important. Automatic failover means, okay, say you've got Starlink and 5G bonded together. If the Starlink signal gets shaky or drops out for a second, the Blender automatically, seamlessly switches everything over to the 5G connection or VSAT, whatever else is stable.
Without anyone noticing.
Ideally, yes. No manual switching, no interruption for the users. It just keeps the internet flowing, which is vital, not just for Netflix, but for, communications, navigation systems.
Yeah, for sure. So if Starlink dips, it flips to VSAT or 5G instantly. That's a clever safety net.
Definitely.
And managing all this tech. It sounds complex, but the source mentioned user-friendly apps, mobile and desktop.
Yeah, they seem to have focused on the user experience side too. These apps give you a live look at what's going on, how much data each connection is using, which ones are active.
Oh, cool.
And you can monitor bandwidth use, maybe tweak settings if you need to, all from your phone or computer. Puts control in the hands of the owner or the crew.
Okay, this sounds really impressive. But, I can hear yacht owners thinking, okay, but will this thing even work with my current setup? Does the source talk about compatibility, installation?
Yeah, it does, yeah. Tackles those practical points. It said the Blender is designed to fit in pretty smoothly with the kind of network gear most yachts already have.
Okay.
And apparently the unit ships pre-configured. Then any fancier network stuff like setting up separate networks for guests and crew VLANs, they call them.
Right.
Their support team can handle that remotely after the box is physically installed and turned on.
So it sounds reasonably straightforward to get going then. Less disruption.
Seems like the goal, yeah.
And the worry some might have, adding another box, will it slow things down? But you're saying, and the source says, it's the opposite.
Exactly. It's crucial to get that bit.
Yeah.
Especially with the bonding feature. The whole point is to boost speeds by combining connections.
Right.
It's meant to be a performance enhancer, not something that slows you down. Faster, more reliable data.
Got it. And choosing the IP address, the US or UK thing, is that something you have to fiddle with all the time, or is it more like set it once?
The info suggests you pick your main region, US or UK, in the management app.
Okay.
Based on where most of your subscriptions are based.
Right.
And once you pick one, the system just keeps using that IP consistently for all the devices.
So mostly set it and forget it, unless you deliberately change it.
Exactly. Seems like it.
And the fact that it can be managed remotely, that seems like a huge plus for owners or charter managers who aren't always on the boat themselves.
Oh, absolutely. Being able to check network health, troubleshoot, make adjustments from anywhere, that's huge convenience and control. You can make sure things are running perfectly for guests or for your own trip without needing to be physically there.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. The real value proposition. Why should a yacht owner, or someone running charter yachts, really look into something like this MDS Blender?
Well, if you think about the luxury charter market specifically, delivering that truly seamless, reliable entertainment, that can be a major selling point, a real competitive edge. Guests paying that kind of money have super high expectations. And having their shows just work is a key part of meeting or exceeding those expectations.
Happy guests mean repeat business, good reviews.
Exactly. And for owners using the yacht themselves, it just makes their own time on board that much better. Plus, it protects the yacht's value by keeping its tech up to date and desirable.
So it's really about lifting that whole onboard experience to match what a very discerning clientele expects these days. And it was interesting that the source even hinted at other articles about how this blender helps maritime connectivity generally, not just for streaming.
That's right. Yeah, we've focused mostly on beating those geo blocks for TV and movies today. But the core tech bonding connections, failover, managing bandwidth, that has much wider uses for reliable, fast internet at sea, for operations, business, everything.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, what's the main thing people should take away from this?
I think the cool message is this MDS Blender looks like a really solid, comprehensive answer to that common headache of trying to watch U.S. streaming services when you're outside the U.S. on a yacht.
Yeah.
Especially you're using something like Starlink.
Right.
By giving you that crucial choice of IP address, plus boosting the connection with bonding and failover, it's really designed to deliver that smooth, uninterrupted entertainment experience people now demand.
It really does sound like it bridges that gap, doesn't it? Between having global internet and actually being able to use it for the stuff you want, like streaming, which is often weirdly locked down by location.
Yeah, it tackles that disconnect.
Makes you think, doesn't it, about this idea of truly borderless entertainment out on the water. How technology like this just keeps changing what's possible for how we connect, how we relax, no matter where we are.
It's a fascinating point. Yeah, our expectations for digital access are just becoming totally disconnected from physical place, aren't they? And it really highlights why we need these kinds of innovative solutions to keep up.
Well, for anyone listening who's intrigued and wants to know more, MarineDataSolutions did provide contact details.
Ah, good.
You can call them at +1 954 859 7092. That's 954 859 7092. Or visit their support page online, MarineDataSolutions.com/contact.
Sounds like the right place to go for anyone facing these particular yacht connectivity puzzles.
Absolutely. So whether you own a yacht and want a better experience, or you manage charters and want to offer the absolute best, it really seems like maybe those days of limited shows at sea are sailing off into the sunset.
Let's hope so.
Thanks so much for breaking all that down with me today.
My pleasure.
And to everyone listening, remember, your shows, your rules from any ocean.